Well, hi gang, and welcome to Chapter 1, Introducing Financial Statements. Today we're going to take a look at an alternate version of Exercise 1-8 from page 35 of the textbook on introducing you to the accounting equation. So the problem reads, determine the missing amount from each of the separate situations given below. Well, before we dive right into the problem, let's just recap a moment from the Learn Smart module. Recall you were introduced to a concept in Learn Smart module known as the accounting equation. The accounting equation states very simply that a company's assets at all times must be equal to its liabilities plus its stockholders' equity. Another way to think about this equation is that a company's assets, well, those are its economic resources. And at all times, those economic resources, they must be equal to the claims on those resources. Now, to kind of put this into perspective, let's think about something you might be familiar with, like purchasing a car. You need to buy a car because that's going to provide you an economic benefit. It's an economic resource. It'll help you get back and forth to work or school. Let's say you want to buy this car and the car is going to cost $10,000. And you've been saving up lots of money and you've saved up $2,000, but that's not enough to buy the car. Where can you go to get the other $8,000 for the car? Well, you can go to a bank. In this scenario, the economic resource that you have is this thing called a car for $10,000. And there are two claims in those cars. The bank has a claim, that's your creditor. They have a creditor claim for $8,000, and we simply call creditor claims liabilities, who you're liable to. Now you, as the owner, also have a claim. You have a $2,000 claim. That's your owner's claim, or your equity as we call it. So at all times, the balance sheet equation states that assets must be equal to liabilities or equity, or that economic resources must be equal to the claims on the resources. And remember, there are two types of claims: creditor claims, or liabilities, and owner claims, or equity. So let's jump up to exercise 1.8 again and take a look at the first part. Now the first part says that we have on the right-hand side liabilities of $79,000 and equity of $32,000. We're asked to solve for what total assets are. So with the knowledge of the accounting equation, this becomes pretty simple. We simply take the liabilities of $79,000 plus the equity of $32,000, and we know that if those are the claims, the total economic resources or assets must be equal to the total of those claims, or in this case, $111,000. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Let's move on now to the next one. B says, we have assets of $130,000, liabilities of $43,000, but we're asked to solve what are the equity claims or the owner claims. Well, we just use a version of that same equation. This time we'll take assets of $130,000, subtract out liabilities of $43,000, and that tells us that, well, equity or owner claims have to be $87,000. Last up, let's take a look at C. It says that we have assets of $132,000, equity of $62,000, and we're asked to solve for what liabilities are. See if you can do this one on your own. Well, hopefully you took $132,000 minus the equity of $62,000 to come up with what liabilities are for how much? $70,000, and that would be correct. So that's it, gang. That's a quick look at exercise 1-8.